So as the temperatures start to fall here later in the year, so did our amount of drag racers every week. People have obligations. People say it's a money game. They don't like getting beat by the fastest people time after time after time. So what we decided to do a couple weeks ago was start doing dial-in or bracket racing, which has turned out pretty good for me. Let's talk about it now on the channel. And by the way, there might be some explicit language in this video. Just a forewarning. I've put a warning here at the beginning and marked the video not safe for kids. So if you are under the age that YouTube describes, please do not watch this video. And we're just growing so fast here on the channel, guys. I just can't even say how much I appreciate everything that everybody is doing, checking out the videos and stuff. If you want to support me or the channel, what you can do is you can make a donation on the PayPal.link in the description below. Goes to paying for Adobe and all this other stuff that I use to get things going. Buy me a beer if you want to. If you make any purchases off of Amazon, that's the only kind of affiliate links that I use down there. I don't reach out and look for any of that other stuff. Don't really need to or want to. But if somebody wants to, we're going to take a first-person view deep dive into last week's bracket races where I went 2 for 2. I won both races, took home 120 bucks. Pretty happy with all that. Lot of information in here. I want to show you guys just how I run my race program, how I think that's a really important thing. Things on how I adjusted the Sanwa, the castle power, where I was bringing in timing within my RPM range. Tire prep, how I knew how to change to prep, what I needed to do. Also, some things, went bad too. But the moral of the story is that you don't have to go fast or be the fastest to win a dial-in or a bracket race, even though I ran consistently 2 1s the entire race. I'll be holding on to these tickets forever, that's for sure. That is a bad run. That was a crash. So here we go. 2127, 2137, 2285, 2135. You get the point. Consistent 2.1 car. That made my life easy because the only thing that I did not have to do is break out. What that means is that if I dial in and let's say that I'm going to run a 2.2. If I run a 2.2, my guy I'm racing dials in and says he's going to run a 2.2 and he runs a 2.21, then that means that I win because I'm closer to the time that I set. If I said that I'm going to do a 2.2, he said he's going to do a 2.1, and I end up doing a 219 and he does a 211, then that means that he wins, even though he went slower because I broke out through my time. I went faster than what I said I was going to do. But if we both broke out, then it comes down to whoever is closer to the time that you set. And believe me, when you got some guys that are running some consistent cars, we had times down in the tenths of thou. We had times down to the 3rd digit, which is the 1000th. So, that's pretty awesome and pretty consistent. So let's go through some of this video here and let's just have a good look. Everything started my evening with the DR10 on the Beefcake, on the Beef Tubes chassis. Now, I actually ran it like 3 or 4 times, and the last 2 hits, I actually turned up the timing on it, and I noticed that that car was breaking loose. I was also running, the same prep on it that I would run on my breakout car. So when I came back, I saw how, there was a lot of debris. We're talking sugar cookie all over the tires, which was a bad thing. Now, usually throughout the night, as people make more passes down the road, that gets better. So that's a key thing to winning. We're going to talk a lot about the keys to winning in this because I won rounds. They were good, consistent car passes and everything else. So let's just take a look at one of those passes here and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. I'll go ahead and hit play. This is just a low timing run. No slip, nothing on that one right there. In this run right here, you're going to see the car actually break loose. And you'll hear Bo and some other people, Mark, commenting about how it was wheeling and breaking loose the entire time. One thing that I have been doing now that really seemed to help me, and maybe it'll help you, is I actually stand up. I used to stand up when I did all of my races. And now I get down on one knee and kind of kneel and drive the car. For me, just visually being kind of more eye to eye level with the car, it allows me to steer and keep it under control a lot better. So maybe you want to try that out with yourself too. If you're kind of standing and relaxed versus being down in the action, maybe you will have better control. But let's take a look at this run here, and you're going to see how the car is just going to break loose and just go crazy. So we also had some other things going on. The wheelie bar on the DR10, I just couldn't get it down enough, so that wasn't helping at all. So I had to actually do some runs with the breakout. I should have been running the breakout the whole time. I only got to run, I think, twice before we started our actual dial-in racing, and you're going to see the lights go yellow, 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 green. That's when we go. This is an interesting run because this was my first run of the day with the breakout, and the unfortunate thing happens here. You're going to see that, you know, not everything can go to plan. Just died out.
Something happened.
No idea what was going on. So here's what I mean about sugar cookies. See how much debris is on those tires? That really, when you see your tires coming back like that when you're running prep, you're definitely, if you can make a good hit and you have things under control, which I always start off with my first lick of the day at a very conservative setting with the Sanwa. I never change anything in the ESC. To this day I did, and I finally figured out something that I really like the way to run the ESC. But if your tires look like this, you know that you're going to need to kind of work some things out for a little bit. But we keep playing this video here, you're going to see, look at that tire right there. That doesn't look good, right? And there you go, a stripped wheel hex. So all is well in the world. Just threw another tire on there. Unfortunately, those were two of my best tires that hold air. Thing with the air-filled tires is you run them so many times and all of a sudden they're not holding air anymore. I think Bo's going to come over and examine everything, but you can just kind of see the whole race setup here that I got going on. You know, put the car on the stand. You'll see me, what I do, bring it back, clean them up, re-prep them, get the heaters on as fast as possible, keeping these things hot. I'm one that just loves to just bake the heck out of my reactions. Just bake them hot as it can be. I did go through and make sure all of my hexes were tight, so make sure you guys are doing that yourself. Double check that one and it was okay. I don't believe that. I think Bo does run air. He's got voodoos. He knows what he's doing, though. He's an OG when it comes to RC cars, man. This car's fast, 205s. I actually beat him because he broke out and went faster. So take a look at my prep game here, what's going on. So I'm basically using naphtha right here just to clean everything off the tires. Probably should be doing carpet burnouts at the beginning after my race to just kind of clean some of this stuff off instead of just wasting through the naphtha and blue towels, but that's okay. So I just get as much dirt and stuff and grime off them as possible. I don't really make them perfectly clean. You know, back during the summer, I think that mattered a little bit more. I mean, I guess it matters all the time. Clean them as much as you want to, but I go around them a couple times and then I come back in with the reaction time and put that on and then just throw the warmers right on them and just get them cooking. Going back through and cleaning this one a second time just to get some more nastiness off of it and everything. You can see it already had the rocks and stuff off. But I try to keep everything as simple as possible, even like my ISDT charger there. I try to run that until I absolutely have to break out, like the inverter and everything like that, you know, so just to try to keep things just off my table that I don't need. Just try to keep things just super clean. There you can see I'm applying my prep. So that's the reaction time again. And that's going to go on both of the tires. And then I'm just going to throw the warmers back on it. I'm just doing one coat of the reaction time. And even though the temperatures were in like the lower 70s, there's something new. His older formula, like at the beginning of the year, wasn't. I like this formula better that's out now. It seems to dry a lot faster. Either that or these tires are just really good and broke in now, and they're accepting the prep very well. So it doesn't, all of the tire doesn't maintain like that super glossy type of sheen. You can see I built extended charge leads. So all I have to do is just leave my battery in the car and just plug right into it. So that way we can just charge it up. Don't have to worry about fussing and changing batteries. And then we're being consistent. I think all my batteries run about the same. So I'll just throw one in. Actually, I only have two of them that you can see have the big QS8 connectors soldered on. I don't really think they make that big of a difference. I haven't seen anything in the Castle logs when it comes to power. So honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. So speaking of Castle logs, let's take a look at some of those right now. And I want to show you exactly what was going on and why and what I did to fix it. So with the timing in the Castle, it's kind of like the RX-8 where you can set a defined range. You just can't start it as early. Now, typically when I did my big fast runs, when things were super hot and everything, I was running my 45 degrees of timing starting at 6,500 RPMs, and it was ending at like 54,000. So, but I was still making 85,000 RPMs. So I'm blasting in all this power and then just letting it kind of coast and go through to the end. The smarter way to do that, after I was working on this today, we're out there during this race, was let's make that power the entire time of the run. Instead of having it finish so early in the run, like I'm kind of used to with my DRK was, you know, like it would dump all the timing in and then I would just be running for, you know, a quarter or a third of the track on what it put into the car. Let's just add that timing through the entire RPM range and see what it gets us. With that, combined with just running the basic point and speed function on the Sanwa, not a custom curve, that's the conclusion I came to. So what Bo and I are talking about is how I was running it. What I've done now is I've moved that up. The Castle's kind of weird. I've moved that up to 6,800 and it allowed me to go all the way up to 75,000. So now I'm applying timing throughout the entire run. I'm making a little less RPMs, but I'm running the same speeds. The voltages look good. There's no slipping. We'll look at that in the logs. Everything's just great. So we'll just kind of run this run here and you'll be able to see kind of what I'm talking about. You'll see the slip and everything on the car and that you'll kind of understand where I'm coming from. Totally slipped there at the end. I think that was like a 2-4 run.
So what I did was I brought that range back down. So all my timing getting dumped into 64K. The other one, all my timing. So here's what happened. I changed the first run I did, 213. I had my timing going from 6,800 to 75,000. I only made 73,000 RPM. So I didn't hit all 45 degrees. Well, right. So then I changed it down 6,600 to 5340. So it squeezed all that all that in 10,000 less RPM. So, gotta pull all the way. So I'm going to move it back to where it was. I think it's like 75,000. So that way it's going to be. Yeah. That'll be good enough for tonight. So, well, doing a test curve, just putting it 96 and 25. That's it. 2-1. Yeah. That's all, man.
So it's an important thing that Bo said, you know, there's more ways to do this than one. So basically what he was saying, well, hey, run the ramp at 97, let the sandwab bring the power in slower and leave your same RPM range in there. He also said, hey, if you want to maybe try to make more miles per hour and you're concerned about your RPMs, drop a pinion or go up a couple on the spur. So really important information there from these RC guys that just know they've been doing this for years. And that's why he's so successful at drag racing, because he knows how to set up a car. He knows what gearing does what. He's had to learn a lot of this stuff just like the rest of us and go out and put the time into everything. But it's these basic concepts that he has and he knows. And that's the stuff that I hope to learn more of over the winter as I'm doing buggy racing with these guys and everything else, since we know we're not going to be able to drag race in the snow. So again, guys, it's the same thing. Get the car back, start the battery charger, get the tires prepped. You can see how dirty the tires still are. I mean, there's probably been 60 to 50, 60 hits on this road already. So the road probably is not going to get a whole lot cleaner tonight. So there's also a pretty big headwind going on too, as you can hear in the camera. 21:37. My fastest run so far was 21:35.
Ready.
I had some good lights and some bad ones too, as you'll see. That was a good one. A good, powerful, straight run. And the dorky wins. Rick, the race director, saying how close I was to my time. I was pretty close every night. Every race. A lot of people were. Trying to make the best of the situation that we don't have that many drag racers right now.
Yeah, that was. I ran a 2127, so I didn't break through.
Huh, I don't remember what my dial-in time was. Might have been 2125.
The GNSS is about 1.18 off.
And that's something that people are going to argue with. You know, the GNSS is a good tool and we go by it all the time, but the GNSS does vary. Every one of them does. They vary from time to time. They vary from day to day. These things are $8 junk GPSs that I use in my FPV mini quads. They're M8 devices. They don't have a compass. They don't have anything on there. They're way overpriced, way overpriced. I mean, we're playing for the software development. So they're a good tool. I use it and trust it, but I know that my car ran 2 1s all night, even though it was saying 2 3s. So it was really off to me tonight, which makes it hard when you're out there pushing and pushing and pushing your car. That, you know, if you're stuck at a 2 3 and then you go hit a track, you might be a 2 1 or at least a 2 2 car. So don't sell yourself short. Maybe figure in a 1.2 to 1.4 variance and kind of go from there. Same thing going on here, guys. Yeah. 10 minutes between the round. We're prepping our tires. We're cleaning them. We're prepping them, and we're getting them back on the warmers as fast as possible. Yeah, the track temperature just keeps dropping. I think that would have been my fastest run. So I believe I did bump up from there. Battery right back on the charger to top it off. Boom. There's those nice long extensions that I made and bought. Probably could be a little bit longer. The ISDT now is hooked up to the inverter because I've burned through my warmer batteries and needed to charge those. That right there, you can power off a 4S, 6S, whatever kind of battery that you want. This is what I use to charge all my batteries with at home now. You don't need to buy no $500-600 charger. That is what I use right there. It's one benefit from the mini quad and FPV world is charging technology. That's a Hoda, ISDT, any brand like that, you'll be very, very happy with. And you can see, just putting those warmers right back on, keeping those reactions just as hot as possible. Take a look at that log here, and you can see I made the note slip. You can see that I actually made 112,000 RPMs and only made 340 amps. And I've got smoothing turned on here because if you look at it, you can see it gets even more jagged. But you can see a couple things that, you know, this is my trigger pull. So I didn't pull all the way on my trigger. That's another big thing that you really have to remember to think about is however you calibrate, you need to pull. I noticed in a few of my runs that, you know, you can see down here in the bottom corner where it's going to say 99, 99, 99, 100. And then I obviously let off there when I started making some slipping, I could tell. But I got to remember to pull 100% on that trigger and also check your calibration. I did have to actually recalibrate and make an adjustment on my SANWA because the trim on the throttle was actually off a little bit. So it was going from like -1 to 99 instead of from 0 to 100. So check that out. Look at your little graph and make sure it's at 0 and goes all the way to 100. Another round coming up here. I don't really waste a whole lot of time. Super short burnout. That's the bigger burnout, I think, is what stripped out the hex. So just as short as possible. Bad light. Good run. Now, if he goes across that finish line without hitting that ramp, he could still beat me, even in dial-up racing. So you want to be careful, and you always want to finish. You're going to see an example of that, too. You're always going to want to finish no matter what. You can see the run here.
Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah.
2120. That was a fast run. Bo and Mark, two fastest guys that we've got.
Man.
Think Mark broke out. Dialing in a 2135. Keeping the warmers on until the very end. Just a short burnout to make sure my tires are gripping and barking. You heard that. And I just pull it back and drop it. I don't sit there and go back and forth. I try to keep my tires off the ground so I don't pick stuff up, especially tonight.
Ready.
Because it was picking up and sugar cooking. Just a great run. $5,000s off each other's dial-in. And I actually changed my dial-in too. I went up. So even if I would have kept it the same, I still would have beat him because of the point spread so much between there. So good run, good race that time. Got the father and son combo here.
Go harder, go harder, go harder.
There you go. Guy on the right, red light. His son finished the race, took the win. Up again.
Ready.
Good run and good light by both of us. believe this is actually the second round. I'd actually already won the first round because Bo was already out. So he ran his fastest run of the night at the coldest temperatures. So he's doing something right. Hoping for the fastest pass of the night money. So back to the car, doing the same thing as fast as possible. Doing a little dial-in strategy. I think I went up a couple thousandths just because I didn't want to have to. I wasn't changing anything. The car was running good.
Ready.
If I wouldn't have finished the race, he could have beat me. Luckily, I still snuck that one out. This was a weird one because what ends up happening is I have my power switch mounted right on the side of my chassis so I can flick it, and it's pointing out, not up. And I think when I got down to the end of the track to pick my car up here, it was switched off. So I think that when I hit the curb there, that my body actually came in and turned my car off. And that's how I made it. I literally coasted through the end. So you gotta be careful with this stuff. You just never know what in the world is gonna happen in a night of racing. But that was a scary moment. I really trust these Castle ESCs. But I've only ran it for a month now. I mean, I ran a DRK for months and months and months and just beat the crap out of it. So I have nothing but faith in that thing. I have nothing but faith in this too. But again, I just want to keep on keeping on with it to see that it'll hold out. Here we are, another race, getting darker, roads getting colder.
Ready.
Good light, good run. Checked up on that. Couple of these runs that I knew that I was doing really good and fast in, I actually would let off at the very end to try to time it just so I wouldn't break out.
I checked up. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm racing one of the fastest guys, definitely one of the fastest guys in Ohio, maybe if not the country. So that's it, guys. That's how I went and won my way all the way through to win the money. Round after round after round. Obviously, I didn't show you all of them, but bracket racing is awesome, especially when you have a consistent car. I put so much time and effort into the breakout. I've put hundreds of hours into it now between racing it, building it, just everything. All the videos that you've seen on here, waiting, cornering it, looking at data logs, all of the stuff. And I just could not be happier with the way things are going. I'm so sad that this is all coming to an end, but we are going to be doing that buggy racing and stuff back there. You see that B6 back there. Right next to it is the little mini Losi, which is going to be just the baddest little thing ever. I am ashamed to say how much money that I've actually spent on that thing, but it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be a winter full of fun. So I hope you guys got something out of this video today. I like these kind of in-depth videos because you see everything that goes right. You see everything that goes wrong. It's awesome just kind of talking back through stuff. There's obviously more things that we can go into detail on if we need to, and we can do that, maybe in some upcoming videos. But the biggest takeaways is going to be run your program. Keep your batteries charged, clean your tires, prep your tires. I cooked the crap out of my tires. I made adjustments at the beginning because I got to the track early and I saw some things that were happening. I tried an experiment. It didn't work. I didn't do any custom curves or nothing crazy. I just let the Sanwa, -96, 0.25, basic ramp. All my steering stuff's always in there. It's in my Ghost Raider video. You can check that out up there. Awesome stuff. Guys, thanks a lot. Peace.